Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. Now, Sri Lanka has a new president. MPs have elected Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe for the top job, despite his unpopularity with the public. His election hasn't gone down well, as you can see from these protests. Wickremesinghe now faces the unenviable task of leading Sri Lanka out of economic collapse and restoring order after months of protests. The hashtag #GoHomeRanil is gaining traction after his new appointment. Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa appointed Wickremesinghe as PM back in May. Wickremesinghe is a close ally of the Rajapaksa political family, and the protesters who forced Gotabaya from office see him as part of the old establishment. Wickremesinghe's appointment back in May was his sixth time in the PM's job. He first took office in 1993. He'd failed in his past two runs for the presidency, but his win on Wednesday means he'll be president until November 2024. Wickremesinghe is viewed by many as a shrewd political operator. Against all odds, he now holds the top job in Sri Lanka, despite promising to step down as PM on July 9th. There's also the question of how long he'll be able to remain as president, given the public's opposition to his appointment. My colleague Smita tells us more from in front of Sri Lanka's heavily guarded parliament in Colombo.
It was in the month of May when Mahinda Rajapaksa was forced by the tsunami of protests to vacate the Prime Minister's office, and he entrusted his responsibility with Ranil Wickremesinghe, who within a week also became the acting president when Gotabaya Rajapaksa was forced to flee Sri Lanka. And now, officially, the presidential race has been clinched by Ranil Wickremesinghe with 134 seats in parliament that continues to see multiple security layerings anticipating protests. The anger is visible, is palpable on social media too, with many, in fact, of these demonstrators questioning if Ranil is really the man who will be able to lead Sri Lanka out of this unprecedented economic crisis. Ranil Wickremesinghe was actually first elected as a lawmaker in 1977. His prime ministerial stint, first one, was in 1993 to 1994. He became prime minister 6 times, but never really completed a single term. Will he be able to complete at least this term as president till 2024, which was supposed to be what Gotabaya Rajapaksa would have been in office for, is a question that can only be answered with time. But when he did resign as the acting prime minister, on a tweet, he promised a unity all-party government. Will he live true to his promise? That is the question being asked. There are his supporters who are, of course, congratulating him also, and who think that he has the administrative experience and the political acumen to be able to take charge in this very, very difficult situation at the moment. For now, there are apprehensions of pro-Ranil supporters as well as the anti-government demonstrators clashing at some point, which is why there is no letdown as far as the security layers outside Parliament is concerned, with the SWAT forces to the police guards to the special forces deployed in large numbers.
Trilateral talks between the Turkish, Russian, and Iranian leaders have ended with a joint declaration to strengthen cooperation for the normalization of the situation in Syria. But something caught more attention on social media than the talks. A video of Russian President Vladimir Putin awkwardly waiting for President Recep Tayyip Erdogan for almost a minute quickly went viral. Putin is seen standing in front of the cameras and shuffling his feet while waiting for Erdogan. Some netizens think Erdogan's move was payback, as the Russian leader left him waiting for a good 2 minutes back in 2020. Of course, netizens had a field day with the video. Kabir here likens international relations to high school. Vice News' Alec Lunn says that the Turkish leader is giving his Russian counterpart a taste of his own medicine. And NPR reporter Lucian Kim points out how it's usually the Russian president that makes others wait, calling this interaction priceless. Could it be the beginning of the end for Netflix and chill? Maybe. Now, after years of revolutionizing the way people watch shows and movies and seemingly unstoppable growth, Netflix has announced its biggest subscriber loss in its 25-year history. That's right, its Q2 figures are in, and almost 1 million people quit the streaming service from April to July. So Netflix has tried to play it down, saying it only lost half the users it predicted it would leave. See, it actually forecasts a loss of 2 million subscribers. And get this, Netflix chief exec says what may have stopped the exodus from the site is, well, none other than Stranger Things.
It's time. Don't try to be heroes.
The show's new season has been record-breaking success. Volume 1's release in May topped viewership charts in 83 countries with more than 286 million hours watched. And the premiere of the second volume even caused Netflix to crash in some parts of the world. Some techies online, though, aren't confident Netflix can continue this sort of success.
Netflix doesn't really have anything interesting coming down the pipeline. Right now we saw Stranger Things. Now that Stranger Things is out and everyone has binged that, people are going to leave again. I'm not interested. I remember like Squid Game being so amazing and mind-blowing. I don't want a season 2 of that. I don't really care. There's nothing coming up on Netflix. Meanwhile, they're increasing prices, trying to crack down on account sharing. All terrible things.
But Netflix is still trying to paint a rosy picture, despite the record amount of subscribers leaving and intense competition from rival platforms. It's convinced it'll offset its second quarter losses in the coming third quarter, when it forecasts it'll add another 1 million subscribers. Now, many analysts, though, say this is just something the streaming giant is saying to keep investors happy, and that Netflix has an uphill battle ahead. Now, some would even say it's now running up that hill.
Netflix has said that one of the issues that's affecting their growth is the lifting of pandemic restrictions. It's no surprise that Netflix benefited heavily from stay-at-home orders, with more people turning to digital entertainment for distractions. But in recent months, as restrictions have been lifted, people are spending, obviously, less time on digital platforms. The problem with this excuse, though, is that other competitive streaming services, like Roku, for example, still managed to add 1.2 million subscribers in the first quarter, unlike Netflix, who lost 200,000. Inflation is another factor Netflix blames, as is the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which cost Netflix 700,000 subscribers. But the real killer appears to be a combination of competition combined with a lack of innovation from Netflix. In other words, with so many different choices to choose from Disney Plus to Amazon Prime to HBO Max to Hulu, Netflix is no longer the only option. In fact, depending on the kind of content that you like and the shows that you want to watch, it may not even be the best option. And to make things worse, it's not even the cheapest option. In fact, as this article from Business Insider shows, when compared to other streaming services, Netflix is the most expensive option.
From Netflix's future to the future of another tech company, Twitter. So Twitter has won round 1 of its battle royale with Elon Musk following his decision to walk away from a $44 billion deal to buy the social media site. A U.S. judge has ordered that Twitter's lawsuit against Musk go to trial in October and run for 5 days. That's a blow to the world's richest man, who'd asked for the trial to be delayed to next year due to the complexities in the case. The judge on Tuesday agreed with Twitter, ruling that delaying the trial could cause irreparable harm to the firm that's already been badly impacted by the will he, won't he back and forth over Musk's takeover bid.
Twitter was successful in its initial argument, being able to persuade the court that the ongoing damage done to its brand means that an expedited hearing date is necessary. Musk was unsuccessful in convincing the court that this needs to take place next year. And it's going to be very interesting to see what allegations Mr. Musk makes about the misrepresentations that he alleges allow him to breach the deal with Twitter.
I just can't believe this is going to happen, because the part that the public doesn't see is that after a complaint is filed and before trial, there's this period of time called discovery where each side tries to learn information that the other side has. You do this through depositions, requests for productions where you're asking for documents from the other side. And so all of this discovery work takes so much time and so many hours. And it's just really hard to wrap my head around how this is all going to go down in time for an October 22, 2022 trial.
Imagine a random person coming up to you and handing you a gift. Well, this is exactly what happened to Marie, a woman quietly enjoying a cup of coffee in a mall in Melbourne. Now, this might initially look like an act of kindness, but when the TikToker gave her a bouquet of flowers to hold and then left, she didn't feel flattered at all. Instead, she said she felt dehumanized. The video quickly went viral, getting over 60 million views, but also sparked backlash. The TikToker, Harrison Pollock, has been accused of manipulating sentiment just to increase his clout on the social media platform. But random acts of kindness videos on social media are incredibly popular. Social media and tech journalist Mary Ann Russin suggests why.
So I'd say the reason why random acts of kindness are really popular on the internet now with young people, so basically Gen Z and even millennials, is because we've just come through quite a difficult time with the pandemic. We're now going through a global cost of living crisis and a supply chain shortage of goods. People are losing their jobs, energy bills have gone mad, and economists say that we've got a looming recession to come as well. So in the midst of all of this doom and gloom, people are sort of looking for something positive to hold on to, and young people basically feel that everything is quite miserable. So that could be one reason why they're so particularly keen on these random acts of kindness. However, the concept of random acts of kindness is not really a new one. It's basically been going on since, the idea of paying it forward, doing something random and kind for someone, has been going on since that 2000 film, Pay It Forward. Where basically, you just did something randomly kind for someone, and then you did that for 10 different people, and then they decided to pay forward and just do something kind for someone. And the idea is that if you do something kind for someone, one day that they'll do something kind back for you.
Meanwhile, in London, a legitimate Good Samaritan was saving the day. Mark Steen Adamson was driving along when he saw a woman in a white dress anxiously waiting beside the road. She was late for her wedding and 3 taxis had canceled on her. So our hero told her to jump in and drove the bride-to-be to the ceremony, where she was a fashionable 45 minutes late. All right, a look at what's trending now. Let's start with a story about the world's most expensive Subway sandwich. Confused? Well, let me explain. A woman bought a Subway sandwich in Singapore on her way back to Australia, and she had to pay almost $2,000 to Australian officials. Jessica Lee shared her frustrations on TikTok.
Basically, I bought a foot-long Subway at Singapore airport because I was a hungry girl after my 11-hour flight. I ate 6 inches before my second flight and then saved the other 6 inches for the flight, which they're more than happy with. Like, they were fine with that. And then I didn't eat it on the plane, and then we came to Australia and we landed, and basically I thought the little declaration thing you do for your carry-ons and your luggage, or like the luggage that's like in the thing, So I didn't tick chicken and I didn't tick lettuce. Chicken and lettuce. And that is a nice little $2,664.
Netizens soon came out to support Jessica, saying that the airport staff could have just asked her to throw the sandwich out and give her a warning. Domino's Australia even joined in, asking Subway to make things right. And while Subway didn't pay for her fine directly, but it did send her a gift card for the amount she paid to customs and a lot of good merch, as you can see. To the U.S. now, where a Sesame Street theme park is under fire for not acting very child-friendly. A mom is accusing the staff at the Sesame Place of being racist for ignoring her children. And people online have shared the mother's sentiment. This netizen thinks the situation is heartbreaking and says, no matter what damage control is attempted by Sesame Place, nothing can undo how these babies were made to feel in this moment. And Sesame Place has come out to address the accusation. In a statement released on Twitter, the company says it is taking responsibility and will be conducting training among staff to prevent another situation like this from happening. And Meta is being sued by Meta. I know it sounds very confusing and very meta, but let me explain. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, formerly Facebook, is being sued by an installation art company also named Meta. The lesser-known company says that the tech giant is in trademark violation after their name change. The lawsuit says Facebook's new name makes it impossible for the art company to differentiate itself from the tech one. And that brings us to the end of today's newsfeed. See you same time tomorrow.